Have you ever been betrayed by someone you thought you could trust completely? What would you do if you discovered your loved one lied to you? Would you face them, even if it meant ending everything immediately? That is what I did. Serving her with divorce papers was more than just ruining her vacation. It was about restoring my life and dignity. But before we begin, be sure to subscribe to our channel. I'm on a journey to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your help will make it possible. I surprised my cheating wife and her affair companion in a foreign resort. I wrecked her vacation with divorce papers and also ended her affair partner's marriage. I was in a difficult circumstance and honestly had no idea how to manage it. First and foremost, my marriage was a deception. I'd been hunting for indications long, hoping to spot something unusual. I believed I had something extraordinary, but I needed clarification. Anyway, I, 32, male, have married my wife, 31, female, for about 6 years. For the purposes of this story, let us refer to her as Sabrina. We met coincidentally at an electronics store. I was building a new setup and she was looking for a monitor. She approached me and pleaded for help, and we got along well. We were both tech-savvy, so we instantly connected. We dated for 3 years. Then I proposed, and we married. Looking back, I realize it was all a waste and I never truly knew her. Sabrina has 2 close girlfriends who form a small group of friends. I met them early in our relationship and they became friends, although they were not my closest pals. My suspicions began one day when I stepped in from the garage and found her on the phone with her pals. She appeared uneasy when I arrived, as if they were discussing something secret. I taunted her about it, but she dismissed it. Later, I overheard her gently discussing he and trip. I knew she was traveling to Cabo with her friends, which she had already told me about, so I didn't give it much thought at first. I had wanted to join them, but I decided to let them have their girl time. But that phone conversation continued bothering me, and then she became excessively affectionate toward me. It seemed strange, like someone was trying to hide a guilty conscience. I realized I needed to look into this. I'd snooped on her phone before when I suspected something, so I didn't think twice this time. I had an opportunity to peek at her group chat with her girlfriends, and that's where everything came out. They were discussing her trip, not theirs. Her buddies pushed her to show him a good time, and she posted photos of a man she called Davis. There were images of them together, with him holding her close and her pals fawning about him. I had no idea Davis, but what was apparent was happening. Sabrina was not traveling to Cabo with her pals, she was going with him. Her buddies, whom I also considered friends, were in on it, and no one objected to her behavior. Imagine finding out your wife had scheduled a trip to Mexico with another man, knowing they'd previously been intimate and wanted to spend more time together. To be honest, it was irritating. I placed her phone down and immediately exited the house. When I returned about an hour later, she was really concerned, but I was able to calm her down. All of this occurred yesterday, so it is still fresh in my memory, and I need to decide what to do next. I could face her and stop things, but perhaps I've read too many posts here because it feels unsatisfactory. If I confront her now, they will undoubtedly continue to see each other. It feels like I'd be giving her precisely what she wants, freedom to be with Davis, which bothers me. I need some guidance on how to address this and possibly make an influence. I'm considering looking up Davis online and seeing what else I can uncover. Still, aside from a divorce, I want Sabrina to bear the repercussions. Someone suggested I surprise her at the resort, mainly since I know exactly where she will be. And you know what? That's a good concept. It will cost me some money in addition to the divorce, but I'm not sure I care. I never imagined my life would feel like a poorly plotted movie, but that's precisely where I found myself, and I enjoyed every minute. It has been roughly 2 weeks since my last entry, when I revealed that my wife Sabrina was organizing a trip to Cabo with her affair companion Davis under the guise of a girls' trip. I played along, making sure she was still determined to go. Once she confirmed it, I bought my trip to Cabo for a single day, planning to leave as soon as I served her the divorce papers. Of course, getting tickets on such short notice was a costly undertaking, but I decided it was worthwhile. The day arrived and I drove her to the airport, watching her board silently. She then texted me a picture of her resort room to confirm she was settled in. I took my airline to Cabo with only a backpack that evening, arriving at her resort that night. I had previously hired a divorce attorney and had the papers prepared and ready to serve in a grand manner. The next morning, I inquired about her plans for the day. She said she would spend some time by the pool before exploring with her friends later. Once I had that assurance, I dashed immediately to the pool where I soon spotted her. She was lying in a pool chair, and Davis was seated beside her, spreading sunscreen on her legs. I began recording as I went up behind them, holding my phone in my breast pocket. Davis was the first to see me and look up, but Sabrina was still hiding her face from the sun and hadn't seen me yet. After a minute, Davis asked, "Can I help you?" Sabrina finally spotted me. She sprung upright, her jaw falling as she recognized who I was. I handed her the manila envelope, which she accepted warily. Davis, appearing perplexed, rose up and placed his palm on my chest, saying, "What's your problem, dude?" I told him to back off, but he shoved me, attempting to appear tough. I pushed him back hard, causing him to stumble over the pool chair and into the water. I couldn't help but giggle at the scenario's absurdity, which further aggravated him. As he climbed out of the pool, Sabrina stuttered, "It's not what it looks like." I asked her how her girls' trip was going and left her standing there, divorce papers in hand and tears falling. It was necessary to wind up in a foreign jail. Still, fortunately for me, some of the other guests at the resort were aware of what was about to happen, so they stepped in. I just walked away. Sabrina tried to follow me, but I gave her such a caustic glare that she stopped. I noticed the marinella envelope in her fingers quivering. When I returned to my room, I packed everything I had, which took about 5 minutes, and checked out. I requested that the resort arrange a taxi to take me to the airport, and I was on my way within 15 minutes. I had to stay at the airport for several hours because I checked out early, but I didn't mind. I was so relieved that I had accomplished my goal of getting a video of her with another man and serving her divorce papers. When I returned home, I slept like a baby. I was wondering if she'd return right away or if she'd continue her holiday shamelessly. Still, she returned 2 days after I did. She arrived at the house and began pleading with me as soon as she looked at me, but I didn't give her the time of day. I instructed her to take the baggage she'd brought and go stay at her sister's house. And just like that, she did what I said and left. I haven't seen her in a few days, and I believe she is wise enough not to call my phone or attempt to contact me since she understands there is no saving it. I'm relieved to say that the most horrific episode of my life has come to an end. It's really bittersweet. Obviously, it's bitter since I recently discovered that my wife of 6 years was cheating on me. Still, it's also sweet because I won't live a lie any longer, and I got my revenge in the process. So let me tell you how things ended before I swear off ladies for the rest of my life. Sabrina only contacted me a week after she returned from Cabo, stating she wanted to give me time to ponder. She indeed did, since without her pleading in my ear, I quickly realized I could live without her. I couldn't stay with a woman who was deceiving me like that. And the fact that her friends, who knew me, were in on it and encouraged it, only proved that all women are the same. The divorce went on nevertheless because I informed her that she had made a grave mistake and that there was nothing she could do to save the situation. She brought her affair partner to Cabo and assumed I'd be a sap to forgive her. Nope. I worked closely with my divorce lawyer, relying on the video I had, some proof from the chats I'd stolen from her phone, and the fact that she had gone to such efforts to be unfaithful. I knew things wouldn't go her way. We needed the most substantial evidence. Still, my lawyer did his best to label specific transactions on our bank statement as having been spent to keep her affair alive. Some of them appeared to be a stretch. Still, many of them were most likely accurate because there was a hotel stay transaction that I couldn't recall. She couldn't explain reasonably. Furthermore, the entire vacation to Cabo was regarded as an extravagance that she exploited to support her romance. She appeared to have decided to cut her losses and not go to court, but she did not receive anywhere near the amount that her counsel sought. We eventually agreed that I would have the house and the car, and she would take around 30% of our joint funds, as that was her ratio when comparing our salaries. It was planned to be a little more, but all of her affair expenses were practically penalized, which worked out very well for me. I told them the truth when her parents asked me what was happening. Her sister experienced the same thing, and I responded in kind. If she wouldn't get ahead of the story, I'd tell them the complete truth, no censorship. While that is the end of my narrative with her, the story does not finish there. I just remembered discovering Davis and Sabrina's Facebook acquaintances and viewing their images. I wasn't surprised to learn that he was married. Their affair gave the impression of two married people cheating together. I'm sure his wife was pleased to see all of my proof, particularly the footage from Cabo. She first hesitated to accept it was real until I convinced her I was the woman's husband in the video. I also supplied the vacation dates and whatever else I suspected he had discussed with her. It took her an hour to say anything else, and a week later she said, "Thank you for telling me the truth. I was angry with you previously, but things have changed. Honestly, I'm glad I won't have to live a lie anymore." That was all I needed to know, and she would terminate things with him. I have not followed up, but I hope she hasn't changed her mind. This is why cheating does not pay. My ex-wife lost her marriage, and Davis is likely to have as well, along with a video of him being thrown into a pool, which I may or may not have posted in a few public places. Just be faithful, everyone. I swear it isn't that difficult. After everything she had put me through, I deserved the house, car, and a reasonable settlement. I gave her the required transparency, and we are better off without all the lies. And that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed this tale and want to see more like it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to never miss an update. Share your ideas or experiences in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.